All right, let's go ahead and get going. My name is Tad Stevens. I'm the director here at cpethink.com. And today we are going to have James Molfetus from South Africa. He is a chartered accountant there and has been many things over the years. And I'll let him explain that to you here shortly. But he's going to talk about how to get at least two clients every month forever. So we're going to have polling questions as we usually do. We will talk about getting your certificate of completion, how you do that at the end. It's real easy. And we'll have an email going out to make sure you can get that. But other than that, we're ready to get going. So James, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, all yours.
Oh, well, hi. Thanks. Hi, everyone. And for those of you that have made it during this hectic tax season, well done. And welcome to what I call the Regular Client Blueprint Masterclass. And my goal for this training, as you can see, is for you to learn how to map out your business marketing plan on one single page. Yep, that you heard that right. One single page to get at least two new clients into your business every month forever without actually having to spend any more time in the office. That is a very, very key thing. Now, you're going to find this training very, very different to anything that you've actually seen in the past. And I'm confident I can say that because nothing like this exists anywhere else. And the big difference is that I'm going to spend quite a lot of time today giving you some context because that's very important so that everything makes sense. This is also a very visual training, and this is really going to make your life probably 10 times easier to understand because I'm not going to give you thousands of little bullet points, but instead of what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you everything, and you'll see what I mean in just a moment. So not only that, but everything that I'm going to show you is a single concept that fits on one single page. Okay, this is really the culmination of my last 6 years of work, and this has really become, I would say, a necessity rather than a luxury because of this whole thing about digital disruption. And if you think about it, the way that people are buying accounting services today or the way that they choose a new accountant, that has completely changed because of the internet. So people are already starting off by researching. So they'll look at the industry, and then, of course, they'll look at you as the accountant. They want to see if they want to work with you. So this means that by the time they actually meet with you, they know all about the business, they know all about the pricing, they know all about the services, and they know all about you. So today what I'm going to do is I'm hopefully going to completely demystify this whole disruptive online marketing issue, if you like. And I'm going to give you literally a step-by-step blueprint on how to position your business and your practice as a go-to practice in your area. So before I jump into the training proper, let me just give you a brief introduction about myself. I've got a lot to cover, so I normally do a bit more here, but I'll run through this very, very quickly. So as Tad said, I'm a chartered accountant from South Africa. I've spent probably half my time in practice and the other half in commerce as a financial director. And I've done work in both listed and in private companies. And in 2011, I was actually forced to leave the profession. And at that stage, I'd invested 25 years of my life already. And the reason is, well, I was a partner, and guess what? Partners get paid last. So I didn't get paid a salary for 8 months. And, there comes a point where you just got to walk away. And the really frustrating thing for me was that we had a really, really good practice, but we lost a few key clients during the recession. And for the life of me, I just had no idea how to replace them. So I spent the next 2 years, literally, I kid you not, maybe 12 to 14 hour days, 7 days a week, trying to get my head around this internet marketing thing. And eventually what happened was I kind of got it all sorted out. And I wrote one of my books, which is an international bestseller, which I'm going to give some of you access to at the end of this particular webinar, called Accounting Clients on Tap. And this was written specifically for the accounting industry. Now, using the principles in that book, I was actually able to get 160 accountants firstly onto a webinar, and then I got to convert 40 of them into paying clients by selling them a consultation. And that's really the message I want to get through to you guys today, and I want to show you how you can do that in your business. And this book, which, as I say, I'm going to give you guys access to a little bit later, this really forms the basis of everything that I'm going to share with you today. So let's fast forward a number of years, and I can tell you that I've continually been refining this system to a point where, as I said to you a bit earlier, it fits on one page, and literally any one of you can customize this particular system for your practice. And while you can also go ahead and launch a webinar like I did, there's actually way, way easier ways to do it. We just apply the same principles and you'll still get very, very good results. Of course, I can't promise you that you're going to get 40 new clients from a single webinar for anything that you do, because clearly my results are not typical. But I really just wanted to show you what is possible when you actually apply your mind to it. And the reason that I'm so excited to share this with you today is because I firmly believe that this is really going to change the way that we as accountants get new clients forever. So Tad, I think before we jump in, this is probably a good time for you to pop that first poll up. The first poll is really, what is your primary method currently that you use to get clients? All right, there we go. So
okay.
is it? Yeah.
No, okay. If everyone go ahead and answer, we don't grade these. This has nothing to do with you getting your credit. We just have to ask at least 3 polling questions every 50 minutes just to make sure everybody's still there. So if you would take a few seconds and answer the poll. What is your primary, or what is the primary method you use to get new clients? Cold calling, networking, referrals, website or internet, or other, or you prefer not to answer? Okay, we've only got about half people that have responded. So if you would, take a few seconds. Again, we're not tracking this for anything other than just the fact that you're there. All right, about 2/3 have answered. We'll give it another couple of seconds. 3, 2, 1. End the poll. Share the results. And kind of expected, most people, about half, get their new clients through networking.
Excellent.
Hey, James, back to you.
All right, I'm glad to see at least one person's got the courage to cold call. Anyway, if you need to get face-to-face with a prospect in order to turn them into a paying client, then this is actually the perfect system for you. And really, that is our goal at the end of all of this, is to get that consultation, whether it's paid or free. And I'll show you what I mean a little bit later on. So if you're like most accountants when it comes to generating clients, you're probably struggling at the moment with a rather tough market. A lot of people are telling me they're under fee pressure. And actually, our job is to get those fees up and not down like the clients want us to do. Of my clients, I can tell you 97%, and this is probably, I did a survey of probably about 70 people just recently. 97% of them say that the main method of getting new clients is through referrals. And you saw we were 50% on the poll that we just did. But a lot of them say, and this is the 97%, that really that has all dried up in the last couple of years. So it's a tough gig at the moment. And of course, the time that it takes at networking, where a lot of you guys are also involved, that is very, very slow often. And the big killer there, of course, is it's unpredictable. So here is an important context piece, and I think you're going to enjoy this, because when I first realized this, it was like an aha moment. So if you are having any of those issues that I just spoke about, I think that it's really our educators that are to blame for this, because what they did, or what they do, is when they're training us, if you think about it, they were teaching us to be the best professionals we can be. Okay, so our balance sheets have got a balance, and the financials must be drafted in a specific way, etc., etc. But they never taught us how to run a business. Okay, they never taught us how to implement a marketing plan. And heaven forbid this internet thing has come along after that, and they certainly know nothing about that. But if you do think about what we did, if you think about our profession, we're very, very structured in what we do. All right. We've got regulators, bless them, setting up standards for us to follow, whether that's tax, auditing, accounting. And of course, we're now responsible for a whole host of other things that we've got nothing to do with, but that's another story. So essentially, every single thing that we do is governed by some sort of standard or checklist or blueprint. So there's actually a very, very clear path from point A to point B of everything that we've got to do when it comes to the technical nature of our business. But nobody has given you, until now, that step-by-step marketing blueprint to get new clients. So today what I want to do is I actually want to just fill in those gaps that I think our educators have left wide open. And I've created really a very, very simple 3-step blueprint for you to follow in your business to bring you literally all the clients that you can handle. So you'll see on the left there, that's where we've got the 3 steps. And then on the right, you'll see there's 9 blocks. So each of those steps have got what I call sub-steps. And that's really just to make things a bit easier to digest. And guess what? We've got a blueprint for every single step and for every single sub-step of the system. So today what I'm going to do with you is I'm going to share with you the most important ones. And the great thing is that you're going to know exactly what to do at each step of the process when we go through this. So when you've got these visual blueprints, what you're then able to do is to instantly know what you're going to do. And I found that probably cuts out maybe 90% literally of the pain and error of trial and error. So not only that, but each blueprint that I've created for you fits on one page. So you can see a couple of them on the screen at the moment. So all you've got to do really is fill them in and then you move on. And as you'll see a little bit later on, you can actually hand these blueprints to staff members or even outsource workers, and they'll actually be able to implement them so that you can get the results that you're after without you actually having to go and micromanage this whole process. So in a nutshell, these blueprints are going to help you to shortcut the process to get the job done really quickly. So before I dive into the system, this is quite an important piece. I want to create a little bit of context for you. And the easiest way to explain how online marketing works is really to show you that it uses the exact same process as accountants have used forever in order to sell their services. And so us online marketing experts, quote unquote, all we did was we had a look what was working offline, and we took that and we just duplicated that same process online. So let me actually show you what I mean, because I think that's going to make the whole thing a little bit clearer for you. Now, I'm not too sure what it's like with you guys, but I know for the older practitioners in my native South Africa, in the early days, we weren't actually allowed to advertise directly. So we had to find a way around that. So what did we do? Well, we went ahead and we placed a small ad in a newspaper. And what we did is we asked our prospects to contact our company. And the way that we're going to do that is that we're going to phone in and we were going to give them some sort of free report. And of course, when they phoned in, that's how we got their contact details. Then what we would do is we'd send them the report via the good old snail mail. So there you can see old Postman Pat, he's doing his business. Now, as part of that snail mail package, what we did is we'd insert a free consultation offer. And we would do that, quote unquote, to show our appreciation for, of course, them requesting our free report. And then we would wait expectantly, sometimes for a very, very long time, and we would hope that they would call us for the consultation. And then if after maybe 4 to 6 weeks had passed and we hadn't heard from them, then we'd either phone them if we did get their contact details before, or guess what? We'd stick Postman Pat back on his bike and we'd send them another piece of literature in the mail, hoping that they would take us up on that offer. So as you can see, this is a really, really expensive process. Now, today, the process is the same, okay? It's exactly the same, but just the delivery method has changed. So let's look at it. What happens now? So instead of the newspaper ad, we simply place an ad online. So a lot of you will have maybe dabbled in Facebook and that sort of thing. And it's very, very quick. And of course, we offer them the free report for coming to our site. Now, of course, they don't have to get on the phone anymore. They can just fill in, an online form and they can get their details immediately. And of course, now it's absolutely instant. All right. They just simply go ahead and they immediately have that opportunity to go ahead and to download the report. And the other great thing is that we're not waiting 4 to 6 weeks anymore because everything is automated. So while we were talking to them, in fact, at the very moment when they opted in, there's a whole sequence that's been set off. So these automatic reminders are going off and emails are going through. So if we haven't heard from them, we don't even have to worry about it. We don't even have to think about it. So the old method would take 6 weeks plus. Okay, this is a minimum of 6 weeks. And the new method that we're using today, well, that is a maximum, I guess, of 30 minutes. So clearly, it's much cheaper to do it today. It's much quicker to implement. And the one that I really like the best is we get rid of all that manual intervention. So now everything is actually absolutely automated. So now the next thing is, how do we determine what goes into the funnel? Well, we use the secret formula that you see over here. So the first thing that we're going to do, and you'll see we split it up at the top between prospect, product, and then connecting our service. So the first thing that we want to do is we need to work out who our ideal client is. In other words, the profile of our ideal client. Then the next thing is, and I'm using a fishing analogy, obviously, we got to go and find out how we find them, because that's very, very important. The next thing is, well, what sort of bait are we going to use? So if you take that idea of the report, how do we get them to contact us? That's very, very important. And then, and this is a very important question. A lot of people don't really think about this one. How are we actually going to send them? In other words, what are we going to sell them when they come for that consultation? Now, you'll easily be able to answer this particular question when we look at the next thing. And the next thing is what we call a value ladder. So a value ladder is really just a different way of looking at the basket of products and services that you actually offer to your particular clients at the moment. Now, in most instances, you simply can't get new clients to buy your most expensive services right off the gate. So you've got to build up that trust and that relationship over time. And then later on, when they're happy, then they'll go ahead and buy the more expensive stuff. So what we do is we build a funnel that helps us to do two things. Okay, the first thing that we need to do with this whole process is we've got to provide value to each customer. And this is important, but at the unique level of service that they can afford or that they're ready to accept from us at that point in time. And then, of course, we also want to make money and be profitable while we're going through this process of identifying and attracting, our new clients. So a typical value ladder would look something like this. At the bottom, we'd have some sort of bait to attract our clients. So this would be that free report, for example. You could then have some inexpensive front-end product that they could actually buy. And the key is you want them to see what it's like to work with you without having to make a huge financial risk. Your mid-price products and services, well, that's probably the stuff that you're selling at the moment. That's the run-of-the-mill stuff that we all do. And then we'd like to have some back-end stuff that's a lot more expensive. And we know that only a small group of our clients are going to buy that. But if we actually give them the opportunity, you'll be amazed. Some people will pay you ridiculous money if you give them the opportunity to do so. So once we actually know the secret formula and we know what your value ladder is and how it's mapped out, you've now got everything that you need to build a sales funnel. And that sales funnel is actually the important thing. And if you think about it, our sales funnel is really just that value ladder that we've just described inverted. So we start off by driving traffic, as you can see up at the top there. Then at the top, we've obviously got our bait. That's our free report. Then what's going to happen is we're going to sell them something that's inexpensive. So maybe we'll sell them a consultation at a cutthroat price or shall I say, at a discounted price. Then obviously we're going to offer them our core service, and that's generally somewhere in the middle. And then of course we're going to try to sell a couple of people the really expensive stuff at the back end. All right. So that is what that looks like. Now, the last thing that we got to do is to get people to visit our site. And the way we do that, of course, in the online school of thought is called driving traffic. So in our earlier example, we would have used, say, Facebook ads to drive traffic. Now, if you understand this concept of congregations, then you're never going to have a problem with traffic again. And I mean that, and I'll show you what a little bit later at the end, some examples of that. So the first thing that you probably thought of when I said congregations was a church. And that's actually a really good analogy. Because if you think about it, a church is really nothing more than a group of people who gather together based on similar beliefs, ideas, and values. So if I was selling a product, let's say that was perfect for Catholics, okay, where would I go to sell that? Well, I would go to the Catholic Church, and I'd probably go there on a Sunday. So I would know that all of my dream customers would be right there, congregated all together. And all that I would have to do at that point was to put my message in front of them. So that's really all we're trying to do. And if you think about it, before the internet, it was really, really hard for us to get people around the world, or frankly, even in the city that we're operating in, to congregate together. But now we're not limited by that anymore. Okay, the internet opens up everything for us, and it's possible to reach people all over the show. So not only is it easy, but it's also very, very economical to go online to find out where your congregation of ideal clients is. And then you just put your magic messages, you'll see in a minute, in front of them. So just remember that. And I promise you, once you remember this, you'll never, ever have problems again trying to find out where to get traffic. So once you've got this, that's the secret formula. And now you have all of the pieces that are going to help you to leverage your internet to get a minimum of 2 new clients every month forever. So a little bit more context before I take you into the system. So let's just zoom out and let's start off with literally the 50,000 foot view. So you can really see a clear path to success in terms of what we're talking about here. So let me introduce this 3-step system that I've been telling you about today. And this literally will, if you implement it, I promise you it'll change your business positively forever. So think of this really as your clear path, or maybe as a roadmap, and I like to call it the blueprint. So you can actually see the background of all of these slides. It looks like a blueprint. So you'll know when you see that background that we're talking about blueprints. And this is how you're going to be able to get at least 2 new clients a month every month forever. So the very, very first step in this whole process is our foundation. Now, as you're going to see a little bit later on, once you clearly define who your ideal client is and you design your signature service, and you've got a very, very clear message that links those two together, everything else that we're going to do ties back to this. And just to really drive that point home, I've got to tell you, this is where we do all the hard work. I know that for some of you, this is not going to be the most glamorous part, but I promise you, without a question of a doubt, this is the most important thing you will ever do in your entire business. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that if you nail this foundation, that is probably 80, maybe even 85% of the battle towards your success. So if you get this piece right, okay, the rest of the system I'm going to show you is literally fill in the blanks. That's all it is. So I don't want to say that means you don't have to think, but you almost don't have to think, because you'd have done all the thinking up front. And now it's just a case of implementing and driving traffic to your sales funnel. So I'd like to talk about this foundation as taking you from where you're hazy, and hazy may mean you don't have a marketing plan, or maybe you do have a marketing plan, but you know that it's not quite right, and maybe it's a little bit ineffective, to getting yourself into a state of total absolute clarity where you know exactly what your next step is. Now, once you've done this, your marketing message is almost fail-safe because you've done all the hard work up front. And the good news is that it is super simple. Okay, if you can get this on one page, it has to be simple. And that's the goal that we're looking at here. So the first part of the system is your avatar. Now, that's just the fancy marketing speak for saying your ideal client. And of everything that I teach, okay, this is without a doubt the most important gift that I can give you. Let me say that again. If you're going to write something down, this is it. of everything that I teach, this is the most important, bar none. Just getting this piece right will increase your ability to get clients tenfold. And I promise you, this will completely change your business if you did nothing else but this. So if we go back to our client attraction 101 blueprint that I showed you a bit earlier, this is really going to cover points 1 and 2 directly. So if you look at that, that is who they are and where they are. And then we're also going to start gathering some information at this point that we're going to use a little bit later on as bait to attract our ideal clients and to make sure that we get them as high up that value ladder as we possibly can. Now, for some reason, and I'm not sure why this is such a misunderstood concept. I can just tell you that none of my clients understood this ideal client concept before they started working with me. Yet, this is the exact same secret that allowed me to get 40 new clients on that very first webinar. So here's probably the major problem that I found. To define your ideal client is really not as hard as people think. What you've got to do is you need to know what questions to ask, okay? And then once you know what questions to ask, you just need to know where to find their answers. And once you know this, from there, it becomes easy and you'll be able to define your ideal client literally in minute detail. So just to give you like a big picture overview, there's really 5 things that we want to do. The first thing is to go ahead and identify the perfect niche. So I hate to break this to you, but everyone who's in business is not your ideal client. Then, of course, we want to know who they are. And then once we know who they are, we want to know where they are. And then the stuff that marketing is made of, the stuff that actually allows us to sell, is what are their pains and frustrations and fears? And then what are their wants and desires? In other words, what are the problems we can solve for them? So the ideal pains and gains blueprint, which is just one of them that I'm going to show you, I'd go as far as to say this is probably the second most important blueprint that I can tell you about when we're defining the ideal client. Simply here, all we're trying to do is we're trying to uncover the things that they want to accomplish and the things they want to avoid. So you'll see on the left there, we want to get rid of things. So those are pains and frustrations. And then on the right, we have wants and aspirations. So these are the pains and gains. Now, this stuff, this is the hot buttons, right? This is the stuff that actually moves people to buy things, because we always, not always, but in a lot of cases, people will tend to buy on emotion, and then later on they'll justify with logic. So the most important thing to note here, and again, maybe if there's a writer down, it's this is not stuff that you must guess. Okay, this is stuff you must actually find out. So if you've got ideal clients, great. If you haven't, then we do a survey and we make sure we find this information. Now, once you've got this, all right, once we know the pains and gains, now you can unearth probably the most important thing, and that is what I call the client critical. So as the name suggests, okay, these are things that are absolutely critical to them, okay? Whether they are or aren't, to them, these things are critical. So these are the things that they will happily pay money for. These are the things where they don't haggle on price, okay? This is the stuff they need to get done, so they pay. Now, the important thing here, and maybe this is a write down for you as well, is that it's got to be measurables. And the way we do that is we add a metric and a timeline. So the best way to explain this is actually just to give you an example. So my clients being accountants, in other words, a lot of you that are on here, the thing that they want most is to get new clients. So obviously that's the client critical. So then the next thing is, do they want to increase or decrease? Well, they want to increase it. And what is the metric? Well, we would like to get 2 new clients a month within 30 days. So it's very, very measurable. And maybe if you jumped onto this webinar, that is the metric that pulled you on. So let's look at another one. We want to increase fees. And what's the metric? By 50%. What's the timeline? Within 6 months. And maybe one where we do a decrease. Well, maybe we want to decrease the time we spend at the office by 10 hours a week within 6 months. So this is extremely powerful. And as you go through this process and you start identifying these key criticals, when you get to the end, you ask one very, very important question. You say to everybody, listen, if I can solve just one of these for you in the next 90 days, what will it be? And they're only allowed to give you one answer. And then you take the thing that came out in the majority of the time, and that becomes the thing that you build your entire business around. So in my case, there were a lot of things that I could do, but what did my clients say? They told me they would like 2 new clients a month, and getting new clients was the thing that they would pay for. So now my entire business is built around that. So knowing precisely who your ideal client is takes you from the shotgun approach where you may occasionally get lucky. And if you don't have a structured program, you'll know what I mean, to being a laser targeted in your marketing that bring literally clients into your practice at will. So once you know what your client's most important client critical is, Okay, now you're in a position to go ahead and create that signature solution. And that is the most important thing for your clients. Now, I am currently effectively showing you my signature solution. So now all you've got to do is you've just got to emulate the process. And I'm going to tell you what that process is in a minute. And you just go through the same process I did to create mine. And because your business is obviously different, the process is different, but you're probably going to be selling a service. And that's why I've put their service as opposed to solution. So even though you hear me speak about signature solution, it's kind of used interchangeably here. So in the past, what I found in my business particularly was that people really, really struggled to understand what I was doing. So even though I was excited and they were excited, and I would take them through a situation, it was taking them forever to make a decision to hire me. All right. In fact, I had a look at my stats not so long ago, and it was taking me 3 to 5 meetings to close new clients. And this was just like crazy. You know, fortunately, I had some of my clients who eventually did hire me, and they said to me, listen, dude, this is way too complex. You got to make this stuff a whole lot simpler. And that's really where this whole idea of the signature solution came. And I can tell you the great thing about this is now that suddenly we're showing people as opposed to telling them. So people can see exactly where they are every step of the way. And I can tell you without a doubt that this has probably increased my close rate probably by probably 3 to 5 times. That's how powerful this is. So this coupled to giving you these visual one-page blueprints for everything, that I think has been a major part of the system in terms of being able to close. So this is what's going to enable you to actually differentiate yourself from the competition, even if you feel that you're currently in a business that's very much a commodity-driven type of business. So let's go back to our client attraction 101 blueprint again, and just show you where your signature service fits in. So it's kind of that piece in the middle of your value ladder, and it's really the bit in your funnel. So remember, that's the thing that we sell pretty much all day, every day. So when you do this, it enables you to really go from just being another commodity, as we said, to putting yourself in a market of one. So your competitors simply cannot live with you because you are the only one in your market doing that. So here is how you create your signature solution. So essentially, your clients are going to come to you with a problem. So that's obviously going to be point A over there. And now your job, of course, is to provide a solution, which will be point B. So in order for them to get from point A to point B, there's going to be a whole lot of steps that they got to go through. And in our case, there's going to be 3 steps or milestones. So just think of them as big chunks, if you like. So usually the first is some type of foundational or preparatory work. So in mine, it's actually called the foundation, if you remember. Then the second, that's where we actually start to implement the action. So it's more process driven. And then lastly, and this is all the sexy stuff that people see, this is where we actually do the implementation, and this is where the production happens. So this is where we actually get results. And all we then have to do is we just break those big chunks into smaller pieces that people can take step by step. Otherwise, it becomes very, very overwhelming. And once you do that, it becomes very, very easy to get your clients to buy in. So now that you know exactly who your ideal client is, as well as all the client criticals, okay, now it's time to go ahead and to design your magic message. And really, all this is when they see your magic message, they must know that your solution is the exact solution that they need because they are your ideal client and that they got to get it from you. So, of course, there's a blueprint. So let's have a look where that fits in. Now, this one actually is kind of overarching because this is the message that you're going to use in all of your marketing from now on. So it's really the glue that ties the whole process together. And if you look at this, and remember, you guys will get these slides so you can go and you can understand how to put this whole thing together. We've got a blueprint for this. And really, let me show you mine. So hopefully it'll resonate with you. Now, again, as I said, I asked people for this. So I didn't make any of this stuff up. Okay, this is what my clients have told me they want. So I help, as you can see at the bottom there in red, number 1, progressive accountants, how to get at least 2 new clients a month, every month forever within 90 days. Okay, there's our metric and a timeline coming in so that they can, and now I'm going to say what they want, so that they can stabilize cash flow and become financially free without something that they don't want, having to spend more time in the office. Okay, now that's probably a little bit more tricky to do than it looks like over there. But nonetheless, that's the formula. When you get it, it's amazing. It all works together. So this is what takes you from being invisible in a crowded marketplace to being totally irresistible to your clients. Let me have a Anyway, let's move on. So the second part now of the system is the funnel itself. So this is kind of where we're starting to get the business in. So we've done all the hard work, and this is where we nurture and then we attract, and now we're going to convert our best prospects into paying clients. So a funnel is simply a process that you use to convert total strangers into paying clients. It's really as simple as that. So before we dive into the details, let me just actually give you a quick rundown of, let's call it Funnels 101, the basic funnel concept. So remember the comparison that we did earlier between the traditional funnel and the new age digital disruption funnel? Well, this is an example of a funnel, and a very effective one, by the way. So if we look at it, there are really only 4 components that every sales funnel has. So the first thing that you got to know is a sales funnel is just made up of different pages. It's just a website, different URLs. So you've got to find a way actually to send people to your funnel. And in the online world, as I said, we call that driving traffic. So this could be via Facebook, via Google. It could be anything. Could even be using LinkedIn. Doesn't matter how you get them there. And the idea is to move them, if you like, systematically from the left part of your funnel to the right part. So ultimately what we need is for them to end up on the right, and that is sitting opposite us, as you can see, at a face-to-face consultation. But not only that, but we want them in the right frame of mind to hire you. And I'll show you a little bit later on how we create that. So the first page is the page that they land on. And again, this is a bit of marketing speak, but we call this a squeeze page. But you may know it as an opt-in page or a landing page. And so this is where we generally give them some sort of educational content for free. And we do that in exchange for their contact details. And in the online world, that's normally going to be a name and an email address, but it could be more if you wanted it to be. So then, of course, once they opt in, then we send them to a page where we're going to establish what we call our authority positioning. So you have a unique opportunity here to start building a relationship with them and to start walking them through that lead magnet. In other words, that free thing you gave them to opt in. And then you also have the opportunity to get them to the next step, which is what we call the conversion event. And that is hopefully going to be something that is going to ultimately get them to do what we want them to do. And in our case, that is going to be to get the consultation. Now, should they get stuck anywhere in this funnel, the nice thing about when we're doing it online is we know exactly where they get stuck because we can track everything. We just send out an email, and that email will then direct them to the next step in the funnel. So it's a very, very important accompaniment. So that's it. Yeah, a great funnel has got an email sequence that runs with a whole bunch of web pages. It's no more complicated than that. So again, just before we look at the funnel components in detail, let me show you the big picture overview of how this funnel integrates again into your signature service. And I'll show it to you just a little bit differently because I find a lot of people relate a little bit better to this than the signature system because this is more linear, right? So on the left, as you can see, we've got our foundation and we've just covered that. So we know what that is. So it's our avatar, our signature service, and of course our magic message. Then what we're going to do is we're going to select just one source of traffic. Okay, we don't have to do 100 things, just one. And then we're going to drive them from there into our sales funnel. All right, we'll talk about traffic a bit later. So now that you know that, let's go ahead and we'll dive into the different components that make up your funnel. But just before I do that, I think we're going to do another poll on that. So Tad, if you can pull up the second poll, then we can run that at the moment. And I am going to take a sip of water.
All righty, I will get that going here. Let's see. The second poll, we'll launch this. Everyone will take a few seconds to answer. Do you have or use any of the following to prospect for clients? And I mean, a lot of you I know answered referrals on the last one. But if you've even looked at this kind of stuff, I mean, which ones have you looked at or which ones have you thought about that you think would be a good place to prospect? Take a few seconds and answer those. All right, while James gets a sip of water, about 3/4 have voted. We'll give it another 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. End the poll. Share the results. All right. Facebook wins. Then close second is website and LinkedIn. Other, and then one direct mail. So interesting. All right, James, back to you.
Yeah, I'm glad to see some of them are not wasting time on silly things. That is awesome. Well done, guys. Okay, so the first thing that we need, obviously, when it comes to constructing the funnel is to define your value ladder. So just to remember where it fits in again in our client attraction 101, It's kind of over there as we starting to move into the product and service part of things. Now let's take a more in-depth look. Again, I know this thing looks a little bit scary at the moment, but actually it's not. Really, all I want you to know here, and this really, if you apply even just some of this is going to change the profitability of your business very significantly. So value ladder is just a sequence of products and services that you offer to your clients, and really it's going to range from literally free to thousands of dollars. Okay, that's really where you want to get to. So usually, as you can see, the higher that you go up the value ladder, the more you're going to charge. So the thing that you want to know is that a good value ladder is going to have 5 different types of products and services, which obviously have different price points. So the first is going to be your lead magnet, and that's going to be free. So that's kind of at the bottom. And then as you go up, we'll have a lower price product. That's going to be a high value item to them, but we're going to sell it to them at a very reduced price. Of course, then we get to our core offer. That's the stuff that we're doing all the time. And that's probably what we're going to build a signature solution or a signature service around. We'd like to have some monthly recurring services and products. And the best part is we want to try and have some high ticket item, because that allows us to really drive the revenue like crazy. So the idea behind the value ladder is that when you give prospects and clients value at one level, then they naturally are going to want to get more from you. And of course, then they're going to want to send up. And of course, the more that they get from you, the more that they're going to pay. So let's give you a practical example. So for example, the products and services at the bottom, okay, these are generally going to be free. So as an accountant, maybe something that you would do is maybe you'd give your prospects a checklist of, say, all the requirements that they need in order to submit their tax return in exchange, obviously, for their contact details. Then the next step might be an inexpensive ebook or a webinar where you cover that checklist, but in a little bit more detail. And you might sell that for maybe $7, okay? After that, they're going to move further up the value ladder, and maybe you're going to try to get them to a consultation. You can do a free consult. They're very successful, but I actually like to charge for that. And when you create one of these funnels, you certainly can. And then obviously once they've had the consultation, now you're going to sell them, the thing that you're known for. So that'll probably be something that you're going to do via your hourly rate. Hopefully not, but if you do, that's fine. And then, of course, we need to start earning some bigger money. So the first thing we want to do is earn some monthly recurring revenue. And this helps, obviously, tremendously with cash flow. So instead of maybe billing your clients periodically, you can say, well, over a year, I'd bill them, maybe whatever it is, 60 grand. So you know what? I'll just bill them 5 grand a month. And they like it, you like it, it's perfect. And then here's the bit that you really want to apply your minds to. A lot of you maybe haven't thought about this, but about 5% of our clients, they really want to assist. They want to work closely together with us. They want us to give them an opportunity to spend obscene amounts of money. You obviously have to give them the value and a good reason to do so. But I promise, if you do that, you absolutely will. So the key thing that I just want you to take away from this as a discussion, and again, you can look at the slides later, is that you must have an entry-level product. You want to have something that's inexpensive in order to convert that prospect into a client. Then you want to have, obviously, your core product, which is the one you've got. Try to get some sort of monthly recurring income in there, and then a really high ticket item. So if you manage to do all of that, okay, what this then does is it takes your income from being kept to virtually being infinite, okay? Because now what's going to happen is you're going to massively increase the lifetime value of each client in your practice, and you don't have to even add more clients to increase your income. So when you do add more clients, then obviously this whole effect is going to be compounded. So that's a big one, guys. Think about that carefully and see if you can bring it into your business. So now that we know what products and services to put into the funnel, now it's time to go and attract those leads into the funnel so that, of course, we can do what we really want, and that's to convert them into paying clients. So this is all about the bait, as we've said before, that we're going to use to attract our client. So we do this by means of the automated leads machine, and you'll see I've created a little acronym for you there. And I'll talk you through the important bits of that acronym in a minute, but this is really the first exposure that our potential clients have really got to us. So this machine consists of 3 parts, but in reality, it's kind of one big piece. I'm just showing you the 3 parts so you can understand how it works. So the first thing you're going to do, of course, is you're going to give the lead magnet. So that's the thing of value that you exchange for their contact details. And generally, it's a piece of educational content, and maybe it's going to be 2 pages. It's really simple to put together and to create. And of course, this is really the way for your clients to give you their contact details. And once they've done that, then of course you'll give them the information. So as you can see there, part 1 is really the content. Part 2 is just the page that we use in order to drive them to, so that we can capture their email. And then part 3, this is a very important one. I'll show you why in a minute. This is where we actually go to give them their free content. information. So again, when we're looking at our signature funnel, this is really where it fits in. It's really those first two pieces, they go together, but when we look at them and we build them, we do them separately because they do different things. So the key here is to solve one problem for them in maybe 5 to 10 minutes, okay? And that problem that you're going to solve for them is going to be one part of your bigger solution. So we're looking at the signature solution now. Now, remember, we've got 9 sub-steps in there. So all we're going to do is we're going to pick one of those and we're going to solve that. And this means that your lead magnet needs to be very, very short because it's only a couple of minutes, and it's got to be quick and easy to create. So that's why we're going to do things like checklists and cheat sheets and things. And the nice thing is we then go and we show them that that's just one part of the bigger solution. So let me show you what this would look like as an example. So if you're looking at my signature solution, I could do a lead magnet where I could say, listen, I'm going to give away a 2-page checklist of all those questions that you need to answer to identify your ideal client. So as you can see there, I will have really just solved a small problem. I'm just solving that little piece over there. But hey, guess what? There's 8 other blocks that haven't been solved. So it becomes very, very logical for me after I've solved that problem to simply say to you, well, listen, there's 8 others. Why don't you come for a consultation and let me show you how we can solve the whole problem for you. So everything we do comes back to your signature solution. So let me show you what this looks like from a more succinct point of view. When we look at that particular page, I call it the authority positioning page. So we send them to this authority positioning page, okay, to download their free checklist. But this is where we make a big change. We put a video on this page, and that video's got a very, very specific layout. And the goal of that video is really to build up trust and relevance. And the way you do it is you walk them through that lead magnet. So just think, I've just given you, 2 pages of questions. So, yeah, you get the questions. But if I take you through the questions and I explain to you the logic behind them, suddenly you'll actually go and fill that thing in and you'll actually get a result. So what I've done, I've built trust. And now it's very, very easy for me to create that bridge. And you can sort of see that metaphorical bridge at the top, because I've given you something for free. I've explained to you how it works. And now I'm saying, listen, if you like that, jump onto my conversion event, which is the next thing there, and that links the two together. And it's very logical for me to ask you to do whatever it is I want you to do, which in my case and your case is going to be to jump onto a consultation. So this leads machine, if you like, this takes your prospecting literally from a trickle of leads all the way to what I like to call a raging torrent, so that you can convert them into paying clients. Now, at this point, obviously, it's time to convert them, and this happens with a conversion event. Now, we've actually done the hard piece. The conversion event is really going to depend on the type of business you've got, but it's really, really simple. It can be a video, it could be a written sales letter, it could be a webinar, or it could be just something as simple as asking somebody to go and get on your calendar, as we just saw in the previous videos. So very, very simple once you've gone through the whole process. So again, that's where it fits into your signature funnel, between your lead magnet and your conversion, the actual conversion of what we want them to do. So this is the point in your client attraction blueprint where you get to convert the prospects into a paying client. So while there are actually a number of different funnels that we can actually use to achieve this objective, what I want to do is I want to give you a practical example, and I want to share one that you can really steal. This is a great one. I put a lot of my clients into this, and it works particularly well. And I call it the instant client funnel. So I'm going to show you the funnel, and then I'm going to show you why it's actually so powerful. So as usual, of course, we get them to opt in for something for our lead magnet. And then, of course, they take into that authority positioning page. Now what we're going to do is we do something a little different. So I'm going to combine what I call the conversion event with that particular video. And I'm just going to offer them a product that we call a tripwire. And a tripwire, again, I know it's a technical term, but really all it is, it's an inexpensive product that's got a lot of value to them. And then again, at the same time as we offer them this, what we're going to do is we're going to offer them a consultation at the same time, ostensibly, and maybe not ostensibly, maybe actually, to make sure that they can actually implement the information that they get in that tripwire properly. So let me show you now why this is such a popular funnel for accountants. And that's because of the really, really powerful psychology that this is built around. You see, by the time they come to the consultation, if you think about what's happened, okay, they are already in the right frame of mind to buy. So it takes a lot of the pressure off you having to sell, because they are actually going to buy as opposed to you selling. And here's really why. You see, the tripwire sale turns them into a paying client. That's why it's inexpensive. And the reason that this is so powerful is because studies have shown once somebody gives you money, no matter how much or how little, okay, they just have to give you money once, they are now 10 to 20 times more likely to give you money again. You know, we've all heard the older adage, you know, it's easier to sell stuff to existing clients than to get new clients. So if you think about it, this little tripwire that you put in your funnel, it actually acts as a filtration device, because the people that have bought are going to jump through and they've essentially raised their hands, and they are going to be your best prospects that you want to see in a face-to-face consultation. But at this point, your trust index is sky high, okay? Because what's happened? They've already gone through your authority positioning page. Remember where you walked them through that lead magnet? So you've built a little bit of trust. So now when they come to the consultation, the mindset is different, okay? Because they've paid for it. So now it's one of entitlement. Because they've paid for it, this problem that they want to get solved, they are going to come and they're going to get that problem solved. So their guard is completely down. So now what's going to happen is they're going to come to you and they'll put all the cards on the table. Okay, so all you've got to do at this point is what you do every single day. You just do a consultation like you normally do. There's no hard selling or anything like that. And if long as you hit the nerve and you solve their problem, you'll have a paying client from that day onwards. Okay, and of course, this is now where your signature solution comes in very, very handy, because now you've got that visual representation to show them, to walk them through the whole process. So this whole thing that you've just seen, this is what takes your manual system from being completely unpredictable to something that's automated. And this is where suddenly now we know that we can get 2 clients regularly every single month forever. So the last step in the system is really just to go ahead and to finish the implementation. So this is really what takes you from preparation to execution. So now that we know who the ideal client is, okay, and we know what we're going to sell them, there are already just 2 things for us to do, and that's to get our automated lead generating machine up online. So that's the first thing, is we've got to build a sales funnel, and then of course the next thing is that we've got to drive traffic to it. Now, both of these things I know can seem a little bit scary, and you know, I used to do a lot of this, so I know. But guess what? I don't want you to do either of those things yourself, yeah, because there are people that are way more qualified than you and I. I don't even do a lot of the stuff myself for my own stuff, okay? We just outsource it to other people. And because, you know, outsourcing is such an established industry, it's very easy for us to do so at a really affordable rate. So outsourcing really helps you to take your situation from being totally overwhelmed to literally being more productive than you currently are. And the most obvious task for us to outsource would be, in this instance that I've just shown you, there's obviously some PowerPoint slides to create, okay, so you can create your signature service. Obviously, we're going to look at integrating your sales funnels, so there's a little bit of techie stuff, and then we're going to look at driving traffic. And I've got to tell you that outsourcing is actually such a powerful skill that once you learn it, even though I'm teaching it to you in this instance, you'll actually be able to use it in all sorts of other places in your business. So it becomes very, very powerful. So let me just give you a quick overview in case you've never really been involved in the world of outsourcing. It's really pretty simple. I'll show you the process in kind of a visual way. So you may not know this, but outsourcing has been around for a heck of a long time. So it's actually a very well-established industry. And it's very, very well controlled. So this is how it works. So you've got both the freelancer and the employer. So you would be the employer in this case. You go ahead and you register on the site. What will then happen is you'll be given login details. And once you've got that, now you guys can start communicating. So what the freelancers will do is they've now got the ability to go and showcase their skills to the world. So they've got the ability to put up a portfolio of previous work and that sort of thing. So now you've got this opportunity to sample before you buy, if you like. So this gives you a great opportunity to either go ahead and search the sites, and they've got a whole lot of filtering criteria, or probably something that's a lot easier is where you just go ahead and you put up a project listing. So you can go ahead and put that project listing up, and you can normally post those jobs for free. But obviously, before you can actually go ahead and employ the freelancer, what they're going to ask you to do is to now fund that particular project. So you've pre-negotiated, you know what the price is, you go ahead, you fund it. And then what's going to happen is the freelancer will give you the work that's done. You have a look, and if you approve it and you're happy with it, well, then you tell the site, and the site goes ahead and they push the payment through. So it's really as simple as that. So now, if there's a dispute of any sort, okay, both parties are protected because the site is essentially holding that money in escrow, and that's really how they earn their money. So it's a really, really simple system. It's pretty straightforward. It's well controlled and easy to get stuff done. So I knew that we were going to be quite short on time. So due to those time constraints, there's stuff that I'm not going to cover now, but I've given you the slides. There's 3 things, and this all relates to the stuff that you're going to outsource. So this is how to outsource. The next thing is when we get to the tech, whether you use self-hosted or cloud-based, and I've given you some examples to use there. And then the last thing is talking about traffic. There's really only three forms of traffic and how you would really go about actually determining what those are. So pretty simple. You go through that at your own leisure and have a look at it. So I know I've covered an awful lot today, and I almost want to apologize for that, but I kind of have to just to get you into it. But hopefully something has resonated with you, and you'll be happy to jump in and do a little bit more. So what I've got there is a site that I suggest you go and register on. So that's just regularclients.com/CPE Think. And what that is going to do is it's actually going to get you onto my database. It'll also then immediately take you through where I promised you guys who are still on that you can grab a copy of my book. So once you've opted in, you'll get a copy of the book. We'll give you slides and things. Later on, as you're part of this, because this is going to kind of be a separate membership where I'm dealing with people that have raised their hands, just like I was teaching you today. For those of you that are not that interested, you won't do it. But for those of you that want to learn more, you will. And then I'm going to make that worth your while, because I'm going to teach you all this stuff. I'm going to give you blueprints, and there's a whole lot of other things that I won't jump into now. But you can have a look at that when you get the slides. But I promise you, it's well worth your while to opt in there. So I just want to talk to you a little bit about future webinars. So this was really the first webinar in the series that we're going to do here. So in the future, what we're going to do is we're going to cover a new module every single month. Now, the important thing to note is that when I created this training, not only have I put it into a system, as you can see here, but each module can actually be self-contained. And that's very important, because I don't want you to feel, oh my goodness, I've missed 2 modules, so I shouldn't come for the rest. No, you should come for the rest. But if you apply all 9 of them, then of course you get to implement the system. So it's pretty powerful. And of course, if you've missed one, yeah, you can jump back into the archives at CPE Think, and of course you can pick it up over there. Those replays will always be available. Now, if you need to get to me, I'm on regularclients.com or james@regularclients.com being the email. I'll show you that in just a moment again. Of course, let's do one last poll before we tie this up and ask for questions, Tad.
All righty, let's get that launched. So we are making NASBA happy. Do you believe that creating your own personalized visual signature system will help you to get at least 2 new clients a month? So after what you've seen, what do you think? Do you believe it? All right, about 3 or 2/3 have voted. Give it another 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. In the poll, share the results. About half believe it. So
half believe and half answer.
Very nice.
Cool. All right, I'm glad none of you slapped me and said no. Thanks for that. Okay, well, that kind of ends what I wanted to get through today. As I say, you guys will get the slides. So thanks. I know this is a challenging time of the year to be on here. So for those of you that are, thanks very much. There are contact details and the sorts. So Ted, I'm kind of done with what I'm going to do, but for those that are interested, I do have a special offer if you guys would like me to present that to you.
Okay, yeah, hang on just a second. For those of you that got to get off, and James didn't mention it, but he always takes questions and is happy to chat about this. If you've got questions, shoot him an email at least. I mean, he will get back to you on that. Or if you'd rather, you're more than welcome to shoot us an email at service@cpethink.com, and we will get it forwarded to him. Link to the slides are in there in the chat. And also to get the certificate of completion, just take the 1 question final exam that will appear in about 15 minutes after the webinar is over in your My Courses area, and just answer yes, attest that you did attend the webinar. So that's it for that part. So James, yeah, if you want to go ahead, let's hear about that.
All right, cool. Well, thanks guys. I appreciate that. This is actually part of what I teach in the signature solution. I didn't actually show you this, but let me introduce you to this as a very important concept to my coaching program, and it should be to your business as well. And I call it the target market matrix. So essentially, it covers 4 stages of growth in any business, and I guarantee your business is sitting in one of those stages at the moment. So if you look at the bottom, you might be in that struggling phase where you've got no new clients coming into your business, all right? Or maybe you're in the surviving stage, where you've got clients, but they're a little bit unpredictable. And that's the toughest place to be, because you know they're there, but you don't know how to get more. That's really frustrating. And then, the next thing from there is we move up to the thriving phase. That's where things are predictable, but now maybe you've got an automated system in place, but now what you've got to do is scale. And that's really what gets you to that upper level. So I'd like to say to you, I know that for a lot of you, in my world, the people that I can really help the most tend to be in those first 2 levels. So I can help you in the first 3 levels, but if you're particularly in those first 2, if you're in the surviving or the struggling, and the way you'll know that is if you look on the left, you'll see some symptoms. Well, I guess you'll know in terms of the amount of clients that you've got, but you'll know if that's you or not. And if you look on the right, that's what you've got to do. You've got to either educate yourself if you're in the struggling phase, and once you've got through that, well, now it's time to automate. And then, of course, if you've got that in place, then it's time to go ahead and to scale. So the best approach really, is going to depend on where you are. So the program that I take people through, really, we start here and we say, well, where are you? It's the same program, but I've got to treat each person separately and differently according to where they are. So that's how the whole thing works. So I think the best thing to do, and this is why I've come up with this, you can jump on a strategy call, or like I like to call a discovery call with you, so that you can get clarity on what the best way is to implement your unique signature system, or to do something else if that's what suits you. So I'm going to answer questions, and those will be things like whether we've got a connection. All right, that's very important. You may not want to work with me. I may not want to work with you. These things are quite important when you start working. You have that idea whether we're a good fit for each other. Whether this is the right system for your business. So about half of you are a little bit undecided. So this is the sort of thing that'll answer that question. And maybe it's right for you, but maybe it's not the right time for you. I see that a lot. We will answer that. Obviously, we want to know how are you going to get it done, because at the end of this, we've got to get results. And then, of course, you'll also know what sort of costing to expect. So I already start off by looking at where your business is now. And I found that most accountants have never really had clarity, or if they have, the last time I looked at this was like forever ago. So this is really me guiding you through a very focused 1-hour session where you now get to actually, for a change, just work on your business as opposed to in it. So we'll consider things like cash flow. We'll talk about client flow, which is obviously how many new clients you get. And of course, your available time and the other resources that you do or don't have available. So then we'll look at where you want to take the business in the next 6 to 12 months, because that's ultimately what we have to do. So we'll talk about growth, and we'll talk also about very realistic expectations. Now, believe it or not, most of my clients have actually got expectations that are too low rather than too high. So we'll help you through that hurdle as well. We'll identify any possible restraints and obstacles, all right, especially things that have held you back in the past. And sometimes these things are genuine, sometimes not so much. And obviously we have to deal with the ones that are currently in your way. And then we'll set a realistic action plan on how you can actually reach your business and personal growth goals, and how you can work around any of those obstacles that may be there. So if you just want 2 clients a month, honestly, that is pretty simple. All right. Some of you want to be a little more aggressive, and obviously I can help you with that as well. So when you leave the strategy session, you're going to have a plan in place on what to do next and how to get your practice to the next level, where you really want it, and to grow it as soon as possible. And you can see the opt-in is there at the bottom, regularclients.com/discover. So just to let you know, my normal one-off consultation rate is $300 per hour. However, for you to get total clarity on the future of your business, and if you'd like me to help you to implement this for today, it's one low price of just $99. So just to let you know, I actually only do 10 of these a month, okay, because it takes quite a bit of time, and I shouldn't tell you this, but I probably will. Most times I actually run over with these things because we tend to get so engrossed in what you're doing. But pretend you didn't hear that. But and really that's why I can only do 10. So if you want, book right away. You don't want to miss out. Regularclients.com/discover. Discover. So now it's really time to say goodbye to all that frustration and stress that you've been having. And I know a lot of you and a lot of my clients on that horrendous cash flow roller coaster. So those people on there, they are not throwing their hands up in horror because they are scared. No. They are waving all the horrible things away behind them. So they're getting off that cash flow roller coaster. So just before I finish up, I got one parting thought for you. And, this doesn't come just from me working with accountants. This comes from me working with all sorts of professionals. And I see there's one common theme that runs through. And if there's one thing I think that people really want, it's this one. And if there's one thing that I'd like you to take away and to really think about, it would be this. If you're not in that business, oftentimes then it comes to a standstill. So you have got to be in a position where you can free up your time in order to work on your business. And if you think of it, at some point, you're going to have to dispose of your practice. Okay, so your best case scenario is that you plan in advance and you sell it. You got willing buyer, willing seller. The worst case scenario is something worse. Maybe you pass away or insolvency, or horrible things. Sometimes they happen and your business is worthless. But I can tell you one thing: if you've got an automated client generation machine, a system that works when you're not there, that is the fastest way to add a number of zeros to the value of your business. And I'm sure as an accountant, you know exactly what I mean. So think about it. I'd love to have you guys on the call. And if any of you want to contact me, you certainly can. And I'd love to spend some time with you. So that's it. Just to say, everything in this program is tried and tested hundreds of times with lots of accountants and different and unique people. All you got to do to get started is $99 and have a chat with me. And I look forward to seeing as many of you as I possibly can. So that's it. www.regularclients.com/discover. And even if you just want to get in touch with me, as Tad said, feel free to email me and I respond to everybody. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much. It's been a great session. I love these things, as you can hopefully tell. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Okay, super. Hey, James, got one question here.
Fire.
As an outsourced CFO, need to create 10 clients. How will this work for that?
You being the CFO, is that the question?
Yes, correct.
Exactly the same. So it's kind of that whole process. We start off as I said to you, the most important thing: who's the ideal client. So who is going to be the type of client that is going to want to hire you as a CFO? Then you sort of go through that process. Now, the thing with a signature solution, and this is something that I find with us as accountants, the one thing we are really bad at, okay, is giving away time and valuable resources for nothing. So let me just give you a simple example to explain what I mean. A client phones you up and says, hey, Tad, I've got this question. Just take 5 minutes. And you say, oh, that's fine. And it does take 5 minutes, right? And you give them an answer. But that answer is very valuable. It solves a problem. Maybe it saves them some tax, whatever it is. Did you charge for that? Now, if you like most accountants, I know the answer is no, I did not. Why? It was just 5 minutes. Well, actually, it wasn't 5 minutes. All right. It's your whole career and all of the time. Well, you guys are on CPE today, right? It's all of these hours that you've put in so that you were in a position that you could answer that silly little 5-minute question. So we take a lot of it for granted. And again, when we're positioning ourselves in front of our clients, we don't tell them what the value is of what we do. So believe it or not, you can create a whole signature service around one simple thing. So in this case, where you're doing that outsourcing CFO bit, you could incorporate in there things like what it's like to work with you, what the process is, what you'll do, the checks and balances you'll put in, what they can expect, when they'll get it, how their life improves. Can you see? I'm starting to throw a whole bunch of things in there, but when you sit in front of somebody and you say, look here, and you show them those 9 steps and you take them through and you talk, when you get to the end, what's he going to say? He's got no choice but to say yes, because he's now seen the path and you've showed him everything and you've been able to actually show him the value. So the process is exactly like I explained it to you. You go through the foundation. Once you've done that, you work out what is it that they want the most. You create your message, you create your signature service to solve that problem. You find out who that ideal client is and you go stick your message in front of them. It's really as simple as that. I'm not saying it's easy. That's not what I said. I just said it's simple. So that's how you would do that. Does that answer the question?
Okay. No feedback, so it looks like it. Yep. So anybody else? Any questions before James has to hop off? Give it a few seconds. All right. Looks like that's it. James, thank you very much. That is great. I mean, I love systems. I'm a systems guy. And thanks everyone for attending. As James said, we're going to have a few more of these, and we are going to have recordings of all of them. So if you miss one, don't worry about it. We will have it available online. So if there's no other questions, James, do you have anything you wanted to close with?
Yeah, just thanks, guys. I love teaching this stuff, and really, I do appreciate you guys being on at a difficult time like this. So thank you. I really appreciate it. And yeah, email me if you got any questions.
All right, super. Thanks again, everyone. Thanks again, James. Hope to see you on the next one. Everyone have a really great week. Bye.